Can you believe somebody as adorable as me can be depressed? Well, go ahead and start believing it. Because today is a hot-ass day. And I have a hot fire inside of my soul that needs to be taken care of with constant, sex, love, attention, drugs, anything that could fill that hole to make me feel better about myself, right? Not that I get all of those things, obviously, whatever. But you guys get the main premises, depression. And let me tell you, the one thing, I've been depressed for a very long time, and the one thing that I've learned about depression is that it hates a moving target. It hates when you get outside. It hates when you do something. It hates when you put passion into something. It hates when you actually ignore the distractions, ignore the things that are telling you not to do it, and do it. That's exactly when life feels the best, when it actually feels worth living, when you're outside on a random thing because, well, I don't know. That's just my own perspective, but life. Obviously people get more down than others, and sometimes it's very hard to understand what goes on inside the mind of somebody who has it hard. Sometimes you just want peace. Sometimes you just want silence. Like you just want it all to end. But it doesn't. It continues. It keeps moving forward. Even when you don't want to be. Everything inside of you wants to just lay down and rot, So you do the next best thing. You lay down in your bed, you stare at the ceiling, and you do absolutely nothing. To resemble what? Death? Nothingness? I don't know where it actually gets you. I'll give you a hint. It doesn't get you anywhere. Realize that anxiety and confidence are both one of the same. And, Matthew, what are you talking about? They're both not real. Okay, the only thing that exists is right now. Factual. You're watching a video, I'm outside, filming it, whatever. If I go ahead and I believe that when I stand up, that the world is going to implode, no. That everything is going to go wrong, that everyone hates me, the world hates me, whatever, that, and the third. That I'm a loser, I'm hopeless, I hate myself, I hate my life, I hate everything about me, I hate it all, right? That will become my reality. Whether I believe it or not, because that's exactly what I'm thinking. But that's also not real. There's a reason why I have tried so hard to figure out why I hate myself so much and why all these false prophecies, something inside of me, something inside of all of us that, when the world tries to help you, when someone tries to help you, you're like, no, I don't want help. I don't want to be helped by somebody. I want to help me. Only I can help me. And maybe that's okay, because sometimes, somewhere down the road, somebody was supposed to help me. Or supposed to help you. And they did not. They didn't. Somebody failed at that job. So it left you stranded. Alone. Fighting desperately for change. Trying to climb out of that hole. But I'll tell you something, everybody. No matter how bad your predicament, no matter how down you are, I promise you, there's always a chance. There's always a chance to get out there and try. Because you're not going to win. Okay, you're not going to win on the first try. You're going to fail. Okay, but the best thing is you're going to fail a little bit higher than where you started. And then you're going to try again. And then you're going to get a little bit further. And then you're going to get a little bit further. You're going to get a little bit further. And then eventually you're going to reach where you want to be. As long as you get out there and do it, you could do it. What am I talking about, man? When you're inside of your bed and there's nothing but you and your thoughts, and you don't want to leave it. You know, you're in your underwear and whatever. You just want to stay in your bed forever because nobody cares and nobody ever thinks about you, whatever, the third. I understand. I know how it feels that it's impossible to even make your bed. It's impossible to get dressed, impossible to take a shower, impossible to brush your teeth, impossible to eat, impossible to take a sip of water. I know how that feels. You know, but like I said before, everybody, no matter how small of a movement, you move. Okay, and I don't care how little you move, but you move. Okay, and I don't care how long it takes you to realize that you're worth something, but you are worth something. Okay, even if every single distraction in the world tries to make you believe that you're not. You know, because you are what you think about all the time. So if you believe that you're a loser, or you believe that you're nothing, if you believe that you're not worth it, well, then you probably never will be. You know, if you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror and you tell yourself that you're not great, you're not great, you're not great, you'll never be great, that everything that you produce is not actually worth it, well, you'll never be great. Not because you'll never be great, because you'll always find a way to self-sabotage yourself. Because you'll always find a way to mess up your fate. You know, everybody, sometimes bad things happen, but sometimes good things happen too. You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to be happy. It's not your fault. When you're caught up in the purpose of why, when you're caught up in the purpose of how and what it is, realize that the purpose is you. Realize that you make your purpose. Realize that there is no meaning to this life, that the only meaning that there is to this cruel, messed up world is the meaning that you decide to give to it. And that's the reality. You know, because if you want to sit in your bed and you want to do nothing for the rest of eternity, you can. Nobody's going to come and stop you. You know, you come into this world alone, you are going to die alone. You know, I mean, you come into this world alone, you're going to leave it alone. You know, I mean, nobody else is going in that casket besides you, is what I'm trying to say. You know, so whether or not you enjoyed your life, well, that's something you need to answer. Okay, not your parents, not your college professors, not anybody else. Okay, you. All right? And I know how it feels to be down. I know how it feels to be depressed and feel like, well, you'll never change. You'll never be different. Nothing good will ever happen for you. But I'll tell you, everybody, it does get better. You know, because there was a point in my life where I didn't think anything would change. That I thought it would be the same way forever. But you know what? I failed a little bit higher than where I started. And whether I want to believe it or not, I have made progress. And the reason why we do not see the progress that we make in life is because we are always raising the bar. That's the real truth. You know, and what am I doing? You know, what am I doing to be productive? What are we all doing to be productive? You want to know the truth? Look around me. I am outside in my backyard making a random YouTube video about depression because I'm depressed. You know, and I'm taking that pain, I'm taking that energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, by the way. It can only be transferred. And I'm transferring into this video. You know, everybody, there is a reason why human beings go out there and they transfer their energy into YouTube videos, poetry, books, movies, video games, whatever, stories. Because they're trying to understand, we are trying to understand something that we cannot quite understand. Ourselves, our feelings. It's because human action, human language is limited. But what we could say and do, what happens to us is infinite. You know, human experience is completely infinite. You know, it's impossible to understand what goes on. It's impossible to understand what goes on inside of a young person's brain, inside of anybody's brain, for that matter. Okay, it's very hard to understand how demoralized people really are. You know, you need to have some empathy. You know, you need to have some chance. You know, to live is to risk it all. So get out there, and I promise you, as long as you move. As long as you move, everybody. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. It's going to be messed up. It's not going to be the best thing you've ever made. But you know what? It's something. And you could always go out there and try again. And you could try again, and you could try again, and you could try again. Because you know what my Nana always taught me? If you fail, you try and you try again. You know? No matter what. You know, I don't care what you want to do in this life. You can do it. Okay, I don't know if you were battling addiction and then guess what? Now you're sober now and now you want to help people and you want to help people that were the same exact way as you. Perfect. Or you hate your life and then now you want to help other people who also hate their life and you want them to help and think positively. Doesn't matter. Okay? All that matters is you. You know, and what you want to do. And if you enjoy your life. That's the reality. Because if you don't enjoy your life, well, you're not fooling anybody. Okay, you could fool the people around you, but you're not fooling yourself. Okay, because you're not proud of you. You know, you can't hate yourself into loving yourself. You can't. I've tried so much running it into the ground. You see, everybody, rock bottom is not where you lay. It is where you decide to stop digging. That's the truth. You have energy left. Do you want to use it to keep on digging yourself into your metaphorical hole? Or do you want to use that energy to climb out? Well, that's up to you. Not up to me, not up to anybody else. Depression hates a moving target. Keep moving. Never stop moving. One small step forward is much better than staying stagnant, than not moving at all. So even if it feels wrong, even if it feels messy, you go ahead and you try anyway. And you realize that you are the best, because one day you'll realize that you are the GOAT, that you are amazing, you know, and that you are someone, that your life is something that deserves to be celebrated and lived. Be brave enough to exist loudly. Be proud of what you've done. Be proud of who you are. Stop accepting the love you think you deserve. And never stop moving. For anybody. For anything. You know, because one day the people that you love, the people around you, they'll leave you. You know, and I'm not talking about the leave as in like, oh, whatever, I'll see you later. Or, oh, I don't like you anymore. One day the world will take them away. Your parents are getting older too. Your grandparents are getting older too. And one day it'll be just you. And it'll be up to you. Everything will be up to you. You know, maybe sometimes you just need to take a step back and breathe. You know, maybe sometimes you need to feel the pain and let it be a sign, not of weakness, but let it be a sign of, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm still surviving. And maybe that's enough. You know, because you don't need somebody to understand you to be able to empathize with you. Nobody is going to be able to understand you, and that is completely okay. Because you have battled thoughts that you can't say to anybody. That's fine. Doesn't mean you can't get out there and still try to make something of yourself. Thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. You know, I realize that everybody gets depressed, no matter what age you are, no matter where you are in life, whether you have a bunch of money, whether you have a bunch of people who like you or don't like you, whatever. You know, you're lucky to even have one person in this life that actually cares about you. You know, that's the truth. I want you guys to get out there. I want you guys to try to make the most of your lives. You know, please. You know, don't just sit there and do nothing. You know, paint. Make poetry. Write. Whatever it is you want to do. Whatever it is you enjoy. Get out there and do it. Okay? Be unapologetically you. I'll leave you with one last thing. Never complain, never explain. Never complain about anything or any predicament in life, because you know what? It could always be worse, but it could always be better. But don't let that fact alone make your situation seem less valuable, because it's not. Because it is. It is valuable. No matter what you're going through, it's valuable. Just don't. Life is fair because it's unfair to everybody. Bad things are going to happen. All I'm trying to say is that you can walk outside tomorrow and get hit by a car and be paralyzed for the rest of your life, or you could wake up tomorrow and have your great-grandmother die. And you'll have to live with that for the rest of your life, and maybe that's okay. Maybe life is less about learning how to get rid of the pain, but learning how to deal with it. Learning how to ride with it. Learning how to act in despite of. You see, everybody, depression hates a moving target, so keep moving forward. Never stop chasing your dreams. Never stop following your passion. And don't let anybody bring you down. Okay? Stay positive, too. If there's one thing you could take from this video, stay positive. Life is hard. Bad things happen. But good things happen, too. Remember that. I'm proud of you for making it as far as you have. Proud of myself, too. We all should be. We're all just living for our first time. We're all just living for the first time. Trying to make sense of it all. Even though there's nothing to make sense of. So you make your own sense. Stay positive. Get out there, enjoy your life. Thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, I will see you guys in the next video. Catch you guys later.